Hi, everybody. This is Sarah Mae Bates for Help Me Be Me. And this is an episode I'm calling Cutting Invisible Ties. Um, it's a kind of meditational practice. It's a visual feedback practice of freeing oneself. Um, what I think it's really helpful for is creating clarity, calm, and kind of clearing your energy and reaffirming intentions to yourself, especially when something arises that's kind of old. It's something that I've been practicing myself a lot recently, and I find it to be profoundly helpful. And it's really about giving your brain external feedback when you're working with something that's causing you to suffer. So, like things that cause you to ruminate, um, replay things, things that stick on you, so to speak. So I have tools in this episode for clearing your energy the moment something old arises. And I'm going to describe these in this episode. But if it helps you, you can also watch this on YouTube. I'm going to put a link to my YouTube channel in the show notes. So, with that, there are actually two parts in this episode: the what and the how, the tools. Part one, the what. So, this is going to be a little bit playful in that I'm going to be doing some visual kind of actions to demonstrate what the intentions are. But this is really about practicing a visual demonstration of a mental intention. You can think about this as physical practices that clear things that you want to let go of in your life. And you know how there are a lot of meditations that focus around visualizing, bright light in a certain part of your body or um, visual meditations to imagine like energy that's moving through your body. So, all of these can be very powerful in just the theater of the mind, in that you're picturing something being released and it can actually translate to your body feeling that release as well. And I think a lot of people underestimate the impact and the power of taking physical gestures to explicitly communicate to oneself how we feel about something or what we intend. So I'm a huge proponent of rituals, like meaning practices that honor an intention in our life. Like, for example, when you're done mourning for something, having like a closure ritual, like these can be very, very powerful in how they mark moments and the breadth of how much we feel something. So this is very akin to that, in that when you demonstrate something in a physical way, you're affirming to yourself, I mean it this much. I'm actualizing it in reality. So that's the reason that journaling is like a form of therapy. It's like you're seeing something in black and white, and therefore it's not like so elusive, it's actually concrete. You can see it in front of you. It becomes actualized and externalized, and therefore you can process it. And same goes for your physical space. Like if you clear your physical space, if you make space in your environment, it can translate directly to how you feel a sense of possibility, and how you ready emotionally for change. So all of that is just like to give you context for why there is such great power in taking physical actions. Um, there's a whole form of therapy that is basically a version of theater where you can place other people as actors in a scene that is very emotional and marked in your life. And then you can work with those actors to change that moment in your memory. Like that is profoundly healing and powerful. And that is because of the actualization of the thing that is otherwise only felt or trapped in the body. So, all that said, I think this will be a very fun episode for you. So, this is about clearing the context in your body, in your in your emotional body, I guess, where things are arising, where they feel connected to in your physical body, so that um, you can be more open to change and build new behaviors and really like solidify what your intended direction to head in your life is based on just those little actions, those little demonstrations. Habits are tied really strongly to our context, and that is why visual feedback is huge in change, including just being more open, resetting our body and resetting ourselves continuously to be more open to self love and letting things go. So it's like really a practice of like cleansing your energy so that you can let things go, so that those things don't kind of like inhibit your growth and your trajectory. Because rumination is like practicing feeling bad, it's practicing feeling something in the past, or catastrophizing something in the future. So this is about cutting off that process so that we can be more guided by the things we want and head toward the things we want. So, with that, these are practices for letting go, clearing the mind of rumination, stress, and emotional pain, and resetting in the face of old emotional triggers. But first, a brief blah, 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 blah. First, a brief word from our sponsors. Okay, part two, the tools. Okay, this first tool, what I'm calling tie cutting, I like to use this for actualizing my intentions about how I choose to respond to something that is like a trigger or something that's, quote, stuck to me like a rumination. So, the same way that when you don't feel confident, you can pretend to feel confident and then it becomes you. Or when you don't believe in yourself, you can act like somebody else who believes in themselves. And that can be a path toward the outcome of confidence. This is really similar in that it uses a physical action or portraying something as a reinforcer to the mind of a truth. Visual feedback can create that inner climate. So, um, kind of like guides your nervous system toward an outcome. So, this is a practice that I've been doing for the last few weeks. I love it. I call it snipping ties. And so, I want you to imagine when a rumination arises, or when like a worry arises, or an anxiety arises, or a focus that's causing you loops, when it arises, picture where it is in your body. If you can do like a light scan, like sometimes it will be vaguely right here, like in your shoulder or in your upper chest. Sometimes it'll be vaguely in your back, in this like upper back area. Sometimes it'll be vaguely in your stomach. Doesn't even matter if it's accurate, just like kind of vaguely do a scan of where the thing is emotionally that's coming up for you. And wherever it is, wherever it's tied to, you're going to like, I like to make scissors, like rock, paper, scissors. I like to actually imagine I'm snipping that feeling, that tie from whatever part of my body that is in. So sometimes emotions like grief, they tend to live in the lower belly, like the gut. Loss often lives in the heart, like it feels like agony in your heart. Fear and anxiety or guilt, there's often like kind of pings in your shoulders or your neck or your mid stomach area. So the practice is anytime something new comes up, the ping of worry, anxiety, fear, rumination, I want you to check in. It could be tied to something new, something recent. It can also be something that's being triggered, that's old, that's just, and you can tell it's old when it lingers. It'll be stuck to you, as I say. Like it'll be kind of the first thing you think of when you wake up. It's kind of haunting your subconscious, and it just causes you kind of like to relive a memory or a thought that and play out doomsday scenarios. So like you can't get grounding in it. Um, that's one example of something you would use this tool for. Another way to use it if it's not old is like anything that has been sticking with you about yourself, or like let's say you're unsettled because you had an interaction with a coworker or you had a painful discussion with a partner, or a parent really got under your skin. Whenever things that have made you feel like not yourself, or they've made you feel like you were when you were a kid. Like what I would identify it with is when you are in a state of you have lost a feeling of trust and you are feeling like you are not safe, something like that. Um, and that is like, could be, something really, really casual and normal. It could be something that is like feels a little bit misaligned with your adult self. Like that's when it usually is a kid thing. Um, like I have it for example with things that cause me to feel like superstitious. And superstitious for me comes up when I'm like worried about having trust in things going well. That's something that because of all the loss in my life, I have immediate triggers around expecting things to be good. So I have to do kind of a manual workaround with my brain. As soon as I notice the trigger of like, oh, I'm worried about feeling a sense of safety, I'm worried about hoping too much. For example, like I recently was reading something where um, it had a prayer or an intention thing that was like, I welcome what is right and good to come into my life. And that triggered me. It triggered me a sense of like, oh no, I don't want to set myself self up for a loss. So in the moment, you get a knee jerk response like that. It's your body saying, no, 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 I need to control this possible disappointment. That's another situation when I think this tool is really helpful. So if you're still with me, in the moment of having that trigger, I make my hands into my rock paper scissors, your pointer finger and your middle finger, and I actually make the action. I first scan my body. You might do something totally different if you don't like the scissor thing. Like maybe you wash it away or you karate chop it away or grind it. I don't know, whatever you want it to be. It can be anything. But the goal is to do a physical gesture of your energetic intent. And it's for the thought to be externalized, the intention to be externalized by an act. So, um, first I would ask, like, where is that in my body? Where is that coming up in my body? And it'll be vaguely, oftentimes around my shoulder, my heart. And I just imagine myself snipping it away, letting go of that tie, whatever it is. And if it helps you to add to that, I like to do this practice, especially if things are sticking to me and I'm unsettled. I do it at the end of the night, right before I go to sleep, right when I get into bed, and I just do a little body scan and I ask like, what's sticking to me right now? Oh, this conversation is sticking to me and it's kind of residing around here. I'm going to snip that. This other person's energy is still stuck to me. I'm going to snip it on my back. This other person's energy is kind of sticking to me. I'm going to snip this one away too. Just kind of do it as like an energy clearing practice. And the more often you do it, the more effective it is. The other thing you can add to it if you want to is return to sender, like an actual utterance of some sort. You can say like, I release this, I send them love, I send them like imagine whoever they are. If it's a conflict with a person, you can picture them, send them love, send their energy back to them. I let this go. I send them love and light. I do not keep any of their energy with me. Um, and um, see how that works. I think it's like very profound and healing. Okay, the next tool I have for you is a version of that is really tied to a relationship. Like if you have a relationship that is stuck to you, like that you don't want to be stuck to anymore, you can do this same kind of ritual or same type of clearing with like the ocean waves or with water. And imagine like if somebody is kind of connected to you in a way that feels like old, that you can't seem to cut ties with, and you're unsure why you can't let go. A bigger, more formal practice that I think is kind of cooler because it involves nature is like standing in waves or standing in water and imagine sending these vibes out to sea or vibes out to the pond or whatever it is, and like visually practice like saying I release this thing and creating waves, sending something, if you're at the ocean, sending something into the waves away from yourself, um, and saying like I release them. These are really impactful in just the act of going through it, just in telling yourself how you where you stand on a fill in the blank situation in your life. All right, the next tool is a reflection exercise. What does your inner kid want? This is another one I do at night that I think is a good check in. So, review your energy, think about how you are feeling, and ask as though you are asking another person, like as though you're asking a little kid, um, what do you want, little one? Like it's a communion with kind of like the little inner being who is riding along in this ego driven machine like, routine. So, really checking in with the felt experience of yourself and asking if you feel fulfilled and what needs attention. Sometimes the most healing act is simply slowing down and like talking to yourself, tuning into yourself, asking your unadulterated opinion of like, how is it going? How's life going? How do you feel? It's almost like we have this little inner child who wants our love and care and needs just attention, just needs to be considered. I think a lot of us put ourselves on the invisible side of decision making. It's like everything is at us, at the cost of us. I'll muscle through it. I'll do it no matter what. It's like there's no consideration of like our experience of something. So this tool is simply to tune in and ask, "Hey, what do you need? What can I do to help?" And and really just that moment of giving yourself full presence and attention, unhurried time will reduce um, things like stress, worry, um, anger. Because I think a lot of the time when we're in a stage of self soothing, it's because the little kid has gotten fed up and is like, I'm over my limit and I need to like reset. So I also like to journal and just be really like open to how I'm feeling. How is the balance of life? How is my experience of life going? Next tool is somewhat related to this one, and I'm going to call it day self versus night self. And this is for if you are a person who finds that you split in terms of like what you would choose as your night self versus your day self. You could call this a vice correction tool. So the little inner kid will often be experiencing a very different life than your ego driven adult self. And you might find that that arises when you are at the end of your rope or you're exhausted and you're just trying to create a hard reset or you're trying to turn off. So that's when vices arise like compulsive shopping or over indulging in sugar or binging or drinking more regularly than you would want to. And so if you find that you're waking up in the morning and saying, I wish I didn't do any of those things, I wish I didn't have any of those things, oh, I really don't like that happened, or I don't like how I feel about XYZ. A way to come to a balance or a resolution is to recognize you are both of those people. You are the person who is in the night situation. It doesn't have to be night, it could be any time of day that it happens, but you are a combination of the night person and you're a combination of the day person. And we need to bring them both together in alignment and communion in conversation to make decisions that allow them both to be happy and to live from a place of satisfaction. And it's not all or nothing. It's not like the solve is not to be like the night person needs to be punished and fixed and needs to be kicked out of here. It's they both need to be addressed and given what they need. When we get compulsive in some way, it's like a result of needing to self soothe. And that's a signal there has been internal neglect. And so it's the inner child that's self soothing. So when we have these habits that are chemically driven, it's it's serving an actual purpose, and that is because we're trying to get release. We're trying to get a chemical release. So if there is a habit in your life that you feel is compulsive or it's graspy, the goal is not to be black and white and be like, I need to fix the shit out of that thing. It's, or I'm the worst. I need to stop all of this. It's like not to at yourself. It's not to split even further, not to look at yourself as a stranger or an object. So the change is like, how do you start to commune between the two? Like, how do you get that common shared ground? How do you create that place where both people can be safe? Um, and I think this tool is essentially like unite both people by talking from both of them, both of their perspectives at the same time. This problem of imbalance is something that has been created by yourself. So the solve is to think about like, how do I set up the building blocks for more balance? Um, so for example, let's say you're having a problem with buying too much. Instead of saying, I'm never going to buy anything ever, you might instead say to yourself, like with kindness, okay, I'm going to buy one very small thing once in a while. But first, I want to give myself some love and attention and some care, and see like where I'm kind of tuning out and hurting myself. Where can I give myself a little bit more time to just be, to be kind of united in my body. And in the same way that children thrive with like loving but firm boundaries, um, we do as well. Like they need like to be considered, to have love and attention, but they also need to be uh, seen. So like you can quite literally talk to yourself like you would. I sometimes I say like you're your own child, but it might be easier to think of it as like you are you're the grandparent and this is your grandchild. I think there's like a kind of an easier relationship with grandchildren just because you don't, it's not your job to like raise them. It's your job to just treat them, spoil them with love and kindness. So if you find that your inner child or inner grandchild needs release and is compulsive, your solution is more time to release and relax. Like for example, just being in water more often is profoundly healing. Also helping her just feel safe and heard. Like if you are overworked, this inner kid is going to demand her needs be met because she's been ignored all week. So think of your inner child as this child or grandchild. And if you are interested in taking that a step further, I think you can think of this in terms of like you're bringing these two selves to the table. You can almost create like a plan together for what you choose, like not necessarily a contract, but like really prioritize like what piece of this thing do you need? And at what level can it integrate into your life that is totally healthy, but also is scratching the itch that it is currently scratching in your life? So, you know, maybe that's like making a plan for what you choose. Like, what would be your ideal conscious outcome? Because a lot of these things arise when we're completely unconscious and disconnected from ourselves. So, you might say, like, my ideal version of the way this works is I will have time to unplug during the day, or I will have like one day a week when I have relief, or I will have one special thing I'm going to spend money on, and it'll have to meet these prerequisites so that all of these things have a place in your life, but none of them is feels so encoded with like guilt or shame. Um, and if you are unable to relate to yourself in this way, if you are not treating yourself like a part of you, like if you're adding yourself, like doing everything at the cost of yourself, punishing the self, working the self without any regard for its experience, this other little kid's experience, then you are not going to be able to receive that from others. Like you, if you're unable to love and care for this little vulnerable, needy part of yourself, no one else can either. Uh, as within, so without. I can't remember the phrasing, but Your inner world will match your outer world. So if you are finding that you're attracting the same kind of energy from other people, they're taking advantage of you, they're not meeting your needs, they're not seeing you. That's a map that shows you what needs to change in your relationship with yourself. If it helps, a mantra for this in particular, may I know I deserve to have enough. May I know I deserve to have love. Mantras are also very powerful in just how they condition us to hear what we think out loud. All right. Um, okay, I have another reflection practice. This is kind of an overlap to the first tool about the snipping, but if you have an old pain or an old wound that occurs, like a trigger, I find that in the moment it comes up, I can reframe it by talking to the inner child and then I can snip it away. So, one that came up for me is this is so random. I bought screen doors because we needed screen doors. And I immediately had this like flood of guilt. Like it was an old, weird form of guilt because I was like, we needed the screen doors. Why am I like haunted by this? And I like tuned in immediately. I'm like, oh, this must be old. So the meditation is ask, how old are you? Hi, little one. How old are you? What could this feeling be tied to? What is this old fear feeling tied to? What age? And in the moment, I think I tied it to um, being reckless and irresponsible with money or just not having it ever. I think when I was like first working, I would literally spend my entire paycheck like 3 days into the week. And I would be like, what happened? I don't understand. I just went to happy hour every day for 6 hours. Like, I don't understand what's happening. Anyway, whatever the age of the self is, you greet them and you say, like, you give them compassion. You say, like, and now I release you. And you imagine yourself snipping away that trigger. So the prompts are, if you're going to do this yourself, what age is the kid? What is their fear? Acknowledge the memory, give them compassion, comfort them if need be, and then untie it or snip it away. Okay. Next tool I have for you is a journal check in, a little bit of overlap to what I've already talked about, but if you want to write on topics that are similar to this. So, the first prompt I have for you, what would others tell you is important to you based on your behavior? So, taking none of what you've said, only just what your life looks like to other people. What would they tell you is important to you just based on that? If you want to take the last month, that would be a great case study. Second prompt, when have you offered yourself or your inner kid your full presence and attention? Unhurried time. When was the last moment you've done that? And if you have not given yourself much unhurried time, what can I do today or what can I gently integrate in the coming weeks to address this imbalance, if any? And then the last prompt, what is currently in life causing you the most pain? Second half of this prompt, what is a step that is the opposite of that pain? Like literally, if you were to take whatever that pain is, whatever it represents, find the opposite of that. Your next step is to take an action, invest time in whatever is the opposite of that pain. Okay, cool. And if it helps you, I'm like so into mantras right now. If you asked me how I felt about them 15 years ago, I would probably not want to talk to you. Be like, mantra? Mm. So I've come full circle on it. So if you want this mantra, take it, make it your own, adopt the words or adapt the words to whatever feels right to you. This is a way to just like condition yourself toward a cleaner, lighter self. Change me into one who can fully love, forgive, and accept myself. Let everything that needs to go, go. Let everything that needs to come, come. Or may I feel worthy to receive in every possible way. These are in the book that I'm putting in the show notes that I'm really a big fan of. Um, Okay. The next tool, this is just a visual metaphor. If you're finding that you want something in your life so intensely and you're not getting it, and it's getting you into that loop of striving where you're practicing a habit of getting things unfulfilled, like that becomes almost your energy setting, is this expectation of failure. And that can happen without you really noticing it because if you are trying for things constantly, your focus just naturally gets more and more tuned to, I want that thing. So, this is just an awareness kind of reflection. You have to ungrasp to allow. If you start to get graspy, you will find that the thing will flee your grasp. And that's because it's like chasing a feather. Like, if you want to grab a feather, you don't chase it, you have to be still and it will fall onto your lap. And if you are noticing you're getting graspy in any area, people can feel that energy. It'll also blind you to the true path to get to it, which is really just to allow it to arrive. Like you can do everything in honor of what will be your best outcome. Grasping is not one of them. So ungrasp to allow. All right, the next tool. Um, this is a bonkers tool. It's called untying energetic intentions, or you can call them snipping away energetic intentions. It's about taking the you out of a conflict or a bind with somebody else. And this is specifically for resetting um, conflict or ties, conflicting ties with a relationship to a person that you do not like. So, this is not for forgiving people that should not be in your life. It's not about saying, I'm going to welcome back that abusive partner. Nothing to do with that. This is really about letting go of the job of being angry at them or the burden of feeling conflict. And the power of it is in the reframe. It's taking the you out of that decision to feel a certain way about somebody. Use this as you feel safe to use it, but I've been blown away by the effects of it. When we have conflicts with people or we have animosity towards someone, we hate somebody, we are charged in some negative way toward another person, it almost is a form of honor and it's almost a decision to see them that way and to connect to them that in that way in the future. And so the tool sounds insane, is just to basically say, instead of I hate this person, say I love this person. That's it. See what happens. And and if you want to add to a second half of this, please let me know my own wholeness. Help me know my own value. Help me know my own worth without question. Whatever needs to go, go. Whatever needs to come, come. But quite literally to say to yourself, I don't hate this person. I love this person. I love this person and I let go. What will happen is the whole situation will change simply because you changed the decision making channel that you were on. It's like all of a sudden it unties this whole loop and they show up and it's a different person. And I'm not even saying that they will show up. I'm not saying that they're going to walk up to you the next day and be like, "Hey, best friend." It's just about your connection to the conflict that completely evaporates. You might not see them at all. It just changes how you feel about it in simply the shift toward openness. It's very freeing for you. It has nothing to do with them. It's more about for you. All right. And then this is a somewhat related tool. Shake it off. I mean, we all know this with ducks. You can see them like they get in a fight and then they shake like crazy. If you have something that's in your body that feels stuck to you, literally physically shake. I think being in water is also like so helpful to get energy out of your body, but like get it out. Literally try shaking it out. There are so many different cultures that practice this, and animals practice it, but like you can get a lot out of yourself physically that is emotional through just literally shaking it out of your body. Um, those are my tools. I think these are really, really helpful ones. I hope you enjoy them. Um, Before I close, if anybody has anyone you think would be helped by this episode, if you can share it, that would be amazing. To see more of my work, you can head to yaywithme.com. I also put my YouTube channel link in the show notes here. And love, love, love to read your comments and all that stuff. So, in closing, um, self love is the most open, intelligent state to be in. It opens all of your channels. It's where we are the most receptive, capable, objective, creative. We have access to more of our brain, more ability to imagine, more ability to plan. We have a higher capacity to find solutions, to plan in the future. There are so many real good reasons to be in that energetic state, not just for the joy of it. Um, so, wherever you are, whatever is going on, from any point in your life, it starts with just what you intend. So just start there. Clarify your intention. Start with the intention to be open, to be healed, to change, to receive love, to be worthy of receiving love. Let go of what will be and just be clear in what you want. And know that there is immense power. You will head toward what you want. You will always head toward what you focus on and what you want. So be intentional. Thoughts are prompts. Um, and habits are also so much of change. So I forgot who said it. Habits are votes for the person you want to be. So just think of it that way. Like every moment you put yourself in is kind of feedback, it's stimulus. What are you teaching yourself with what moment you put yourself through? So just start with intention, build good habits, and smile.